In the previous video, we discussed code snippet 22, where we learned how to convert strings into floating point numbers in PHP. Now, in this video, we're moving one step ahead and exploring code snippet 23. This code demonstrates how to convert both a float and a string value into an integer in PHP. Let's understand what's happening here. The code starts with the PHP opening tag, PHP, and then we have a comment line saying cast float to int. This means that we're going to change, or cast, a floating point number into an integer. The variable $a is first assigned a float value, 112.345.678. Now, this number contains decimal values, but we only want the integer part. To do that, PHP provides a simple type casting method using int. So when we write a bonks int a, PHP immediately converts that float value into an integer by removing everything after the decimal point. As a result, AA now becomes 12345. Then, using echo $a, the code prints this value on the screen. After that, we see a line echo hell, which simply adds a line break in the browser output. The next part of the code repeats the same process with another variable, b. It's again assigned the float value, 12345.678, and then casted to an integer using int. When we echo b, we get the same output, 12345. So in simple terms, this example shows that when a float is converted into an integer in PHP, the decimal part is completely dropped without rounding. That's why in the output section, we can see the result clearly printed as 112.345, 112.345. This is a very common practice in PHP when you only want the whole number part from a decimal value. For example, when working with IDs, quantities, or counting operations where fractions don't make sense. Now that we've understood how to convert float and string values into integers using code snippet 23, let's move ahead to the next section. 3.13 PHP Math Functions. Math functions in PHP are extremely useful because they allow us to perform mathematical calculations directly within our code. Whether it's addition, subtraction, rounding numbers, finding absolute values, or even working with constants like pi, PHP provides built-in functions to make these tasks simple and efficient. Let's start with one of the most basic and commonly used math functions, the pi function. The pi function in PHP returns the approximate value of pi, which is around 3.1415926535898. You might remember this constant from mathematics. It's the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. In programming, especially in mathematical or scientific calculations, we often need this value to solve geometry-related problems, such as finding the area or circumference of a circle. Instead of manually typing the value of pi every time, PHP gives us the pi function so we can call it whenever needed. For example, if you write echo pi, in your PHP script, it will simply print the value of pi. This makes your code cleaner, faster, and less prone to manual typing errors. So, the pi function might look simple, but it plays a very important role in mathematical and engineering calculations in PHP. Now that we've learned what the pi function does and how it returns the approximate value of pi, let's look at a practical example to understand how it can be used in real-world calculations. In code snippet 24, we have a simple PHP program that uses the pi function to calculate the surface area of a circle. Let's break it down step by step. The script begins with the PHP opening tag, and then it prints the value of pi using echo pi. This displays the value 3.1415926535898 on the screen, the well-known mathematical constant pi. After that, a line break is added using echo bow so that the next output appears on a new line. Next, we define a variable called radius and assign it the value 6. This means the radius of our circle is 6 units. Now comes the important part, the formula. To calculate the surface area of a sphere, we use the formula 4xpxr2, where p represents the pi constant and r is the radius. In PHP, this formula is written as surface area, ch4, pi, radius, radius. Here the pi function automatically provides the value of p, and the rest of the expression performs the multiplication to calculate the surface area. Finally, the result is displayed using echo. Surface area is. Surface area? The dot symbol here is used to concatenate the text with the calculated value. When we run this code, the output first shows the value of pi, and then the calculated surface area of the circle, which is approximately 452.38934211693. This example clearly shows how the pi function in PHP can be used not just for simple output, but also as part of a real mathematical formula, making it extremely useful for geometry, physics, or engineering-related calculations within your PHP projects. After understanding how the pi function works and how it can be used to calculate the surface area of a circle, let's now move forward and explore two more very useful mathematical functions in PHP, the minter and max functions. These two functions are extremely handy when you want to find the smallest or largest value from a list of numbers or an array. They make it simple to perform comparisons without manually writing complex if-else statements. Let's start with the min function. The min function is used to return the lowest value among a given set of numbers. In simple words, if you give PHP multiple values, min will look at all of them and return the smallest one. For example, if you have numbers like 25, 40, and 10, the min function will return 10 because it's the lowest value in that list. The syntax of the min function is very simple. You can write it in two ways, either by passing individual numbers like this, min value 1, value 2, value 3, or by passing an array containing several values, like this, min array values. This flexibility makes the min function very useful, especially when working with arrays of numbers such as exam scores, product prices, or statistical data. PHP automatically scans all the values and gives you the smallest one instantly. In the next part, we'll look at the max function, which works in the exact opposite way. It finds the highest or largest value among multiple numbers or within an array. So in short, these two functions, min and max, help you quickly identify the range of your data, which is incredibly useful in calculations, comparisons, and data analysis. Now, after learning how the min function helps us find the smallest number in a list, let's move on to its counterpart, the max function. The max function in PHP is used to find the highest or largest value among a set of numbers or elements inside an array. It works exactly like min, but instead of returning the smallest number, it returns the biggest one. For example, imagine you have three values, 15, 48, and 22. If we pass these into the max function, like this, max 15, 48, 22, PHP will automatically compare all three and return 48 because that's the highest number among them. The syntax is quite simple and follows the same structure as the min function. You can either write it with individual numbers like this, max, value 1, value 2, value 3, or you can pass an array of numbers such as max, array, values. This makes the max function very useful in real programming scenarios, like finding the highest score in a test, the maximum price from a list of products, or the largest number in a data set. Together, the min and max functions are essential tools in PHP for comparing and analyzing data efficiently. They save time, reduce code complexity, and help you focus on logic instead of manually writing multiple comparison statements. In the next part of this PHP learning series, we'll look at real examples of how these functions work inside PHP code and explore how to combine them with arrays and user inputs for practical results. Now that we've understood how the min and max functions work individually, let's take a look at a practical example that shows both of them in action together. In code snippet 25, we have a simple PHP program that demonstrates how to find the lowest and highest values from a set of numbers using these two functions. The script begins with the PHP opening tag, and then the first line uses the min function like this, echo min $10 20, 30, 23, 600. Here, PHP is given a list of numbers, 10, 20, 30, 20, 3, and 600. The minut function goes through each of these values and identifies which one is the smallest. If you observe the list carefully, 600 is the lowest number among them. So when this code runs, PHP displays 600 as the output. Then, a line break is added using echo to separate the results for better readability. Next, the script uses the max function in a similar way. Echo max 10, 20, 30, 20, 3, 600. Now PHP once again scans through all the numbers, but this time it looks for the largest one. Out of all these values, 30 is the highest. Therefore, when the code runs, PHP prints 30 as the result. So in the final output, you'll first see 600, which comes from the mean function, and then 30, which comes from the max function. This simple example clearly shows how powerful these two functions are. With just one line of code, PHP can analyze an entire set of values and instantly give you the minimum and maximum results. You can use these functions with arrays, lists of numbers, or even values taken from user input. In short, min and max make it very easy to work with data comparisons in PHP, saving you both time and effort while keeping your code neat and clean. Now that we've seen how the min and max functions help us find the smallest and largest values in a list, let's move on to another very useful PHP mathematical function, the ABS function. The ABS function stands for absolute value, and its purpose is simple. It always returns a positive version of a number, no matter whether the input is positive or negative. For example, if we pass 10 into the abs function, the result will be 10. Similarly, if we pass 5, it will still return 5 because it only focuses on the magnitude of the number, not its sign. In short, abseg removes the negative sign and converts any number into its absolute positive form. Now, when you provide an integer to the ABS function, it returns an integer result. But when you provide a floating point number, for example, 1275, the output will also be a floating point value, which in this case would be 12.75. This function becomes extremely helpful when working with calculations that require only positive values, such as distances, temperature differences, or financial data where the magnitude matters but not the direction. The syntax for the abs function is very straightforward. You simply write abs number. So if you write abs 25, PHP will output 25. And if you use ABS 3.6, the result will be 3.6. This makes AB one of the most practical math functions in PHP. Simple, yet very powerful for mathematical and logical operations where negative signs can cause incorrect results. So that's how the minad, maxnias, and abas functions work in PHP, simple yet super powerful tools for real-world coding. Each of these functions helps you perform mathematical and logical operations more efficiently, saving time and keeping your code clean and organized. In our next video, we'll move forward to code snippet 26, where you'll learn another powerful PHP math function explained step by step, just like we've been doing in this series. If you're enjoying this PHP tutorial series, don't forget to subscribe to Huzaifa TV Official and make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Keep learning, keep coding, and I'll see you in the next video, only on Huzaifa TV Official.